I don't know.
You see it, it's reversed on my screen. There's no reversing it. Just stop sharing. Okay. It says live on this end with one person watching. That's myself. That's you. It's you. And one thumbs up. Did you give it a thumbs up? Yeah. Yeah, that little wheel of death. That's you. Got it? Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay. All right. Thanks. Bye.
But this is
So what do you think?
Everything's streaming. Check it out. Actually streaming up to there. So it's all working. So it's fine. Turn off what you're setting. So you got like 88 minutes. So that should be.
It should get us through 6:10.
Yeah.
I will tell her sooner the better.
Thank you,
All
Ashley.
right, yes.
She doesn't want to do that. I'm hoping it Hey, good to see you.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, thank you.
It's so nice to see you. Thank you so much for your job. I do. Thank you so much for that. I brought all everyone else. Oh, Hello? Am I live? Hello? Will the panelists please proceed to the stage? Will all the former family medicine chairs proceed to the stage, please? And if everyone else could begin taking a seat, we would like to start in just a couple of minutes. Thank you all for being here. I don't think
Yeah.
We'll get started here in just a minute, and yes, we're gonna ask this fabulous, illustrious panel of questions, and we're getting live stream started in just a moment. And we are expecting more people to arrive. We understand that 5 o'clock is a tough time to get here if people are wrapping up work and clinic for the day. All right, are we ready for the live stream? Welcome, everyone. We are so happy to see you all here today to celebrate two things. We're celebrating a 50-year legacy of the Department of Family and Community Medicine and 31 years of service given to the University of New Mexico School of Medicine by Dr. Martha Cole-McGrew. So before we begin, I'd like to read the UNM land acknowledgement. Founded in 1889, the University of New Mexico sits on the traditional homelands of the Pueblo Sandia. The original peoples of New Mexico, Pueblo, Navajo, and Apache, since time immemorial, have deep connections to the land and have made significant contributions to the broader community statewide. We honor the land itself and those who remain stewards of this land throughout the generations, and also acknowledge our committed relationship to Indigenous peoples. We gratefully recognize our history. I'm Felicia Rohan Mijares. I'm currently serving as the Interim Dean of Family and Community Medicine at the University of New Mexico, and I'm joined on stage with every single chair that has ever served at the University of New Mexico Department of Family and Community Medicine. I think that deserves some applause. In July of this upcoming year, we'll celebrate our 50th anniversary as a department. And as I mentioned, we're kicking off this year as a celebration of the contributions this department has made to the institution and to the state of New Mexico. I'm joined on stage today by Dr. Jennifer Phillips, who's our Associate Chair in the department.
Thanks so much. It's so good to be here and to be with all of you and to honor Martha, who has been an incredible role model of motherhood, leadership, and family medicine. We thought about talking about statistics and U.S. News and World Report, but instead we thought it'd be more fun to ask our panelists questions and put them on the hot seat instead of just talk to you about how wonderful our department is, because they really are the embodiment of why our department is so wonderful and why we all kind of decided that these were our people, and this is where we wanted to be and practice and devote our careers. So I think you start with the first question.
Yes, and so first I would like to introduce everyone. So first we have Dr. Warren Heffron. Dr. Arthur Kaufman. They're all guests of honor, but our premier guest of honor is Dr. Martha McGrew. Dr. Bill Weiss. And yes, Dr. Dave Rakel hopped on the plane today. And so, because it is COVID times, we are live streaming the event, and we have one mic that allows for us to live stream to the world. So we'll be passing the mic to our panelists. And so Jen and I think we're going to try to sit and kind of have a casual conversation as we get this part of the evening rolling.
And with lots of hand sanitizer.
Oh, and everyone is being so good about keeping your masks on. We are requesting that everyone keep your mask on throughout the event inside. All right, so this is a question for all of our panelists. So we'll ask the speakers to pass the mic on down, and we'll start with Dr. Heffron. So first of all, if you'll tell everyone when you served as chair, and then let us know, what does family medicine mean to you?
I was chair 3 times. I was chair back in the 70s, I guess, or 80s, when Bill Weiss took a year sabbatical, and I was acting chair for a year. Then several years after that, he came in one morning and announced to me that, okay, Heffron, family medicine has come along and done very well. Community medicine has done very well. We're going to the dean and see about making a change to be chair. And so I became the second chair. I was chair for 12 years. And then when Martha Simply became dean about 20 years later, I was chair again on an interim basis and served for 2 years. So I've had 3 different stints as acting as chair and as interim chair. Family medicine to me means the lifeblood of medicine.
So at my age, I can't remember when I started and stopped. It was 15 years, and it was after Warren's, before Martha. And family medicine to me is the bridge between people, their families, and the community, and between an academic health center and clinics and the community.
Thank you. I'm Martha, and I don't really need, but I'm doing it for Washburn. I was chair from, I think, 2008 to about 2015, and I've been the interim dean, or the vice dean, the interim dean since then. And family medicine to me has been, it's been the best way of health that you can take care of families and communities. And by families, I mean in the most broad way, individuals, families, communities, the world in some ways. I think because we care so much about the future, because we take care of kids and our elders, that it's upon us to make health better, not just here, but as our climate, as our inequities, as everything, and that we have a role in that, and that's our job in family medicine.
I began as chair, I think, as acting chair in 1972, succeeding the original chair, which was Bob Caesar. He was here and developed a primordial department largely organized around epidemiology. And then suddenly there was an explosion, like a big bang, and family medicine was decreed to support the dean, and a few years later, emergency medicine also developed within that department, along at the same time as a whole bunch of community medicine initiatives. What is family medicine to me means the opportunity to take care of people as people, families as families part of that, in the face of a medical system that is increasingly moving and condensing its practice towards the minutia of the person. And so this is the opportunity to restore people and their families and communities back into the focus of care.
This is quite the talking stick. Let's see, I came in 2016 and 2021. It was quite a tenure. And so it's such an honor to be celebrating Martha, and also to be able to appear with every real life human being who has been leaders in this department. So what is family medicine to me? I'm going to play off Bill's word minutia a little bit, and we need that minutia, right? Thank God for experts in certain areas. But what family medicine is to me is that super generalist. It's relationship and context. It's seeing the forest through the tree so you can treat the tree. And without that context, without that broad understanding of what a human being is and the environment that they live in, we're going to just project science inappropriately. So I love this field because it's the best field to do health and healing. And in the future, with all this artificial intelligence, it's the one field that a computer will never be able to do because it's grounded in humanism.
Thank you all, wonderful answers. And so this question is actually for Dr. Heffron and Dr. Weiss. What is the biggest change you've seen in family medicine since you have been in the field?
I guess the biggest change that I have seen has been one that I didn't expect, and it was sort of interesting. Family medicine was started at a time when internal medicine had been the general specialty for years, but they suddenly fragmented and started creating silos and individual subspecialties. Family medicine came along and was going to be the answer to that. And we have been for some 50 years almost. But over the last few years, I've also seen a big change in that we too are looking at silos. We have sports medicine, we have geriatrics, we have other areas in which hospitals should be trained, inpatient doctors, outpatient doctors, and I'm finding some of that change fascinating. And I'm just, when sitting, I ruminate every once in a while, what is going to be our future? Will we really be the generalists for everybody?
I read in 1900, half of all workers were doctors. In the 60s, we're down to about 5%. Now it's even less. When you walk into our clinics, all you see are medical assistants, and they are fantastic. So what I'm seeing is a very huge change in the healthcare team. Medical assistants, community health workers, pharmacists. I desperately want to have physical therapists in there with us. But it's a changing team that makes it very exciting. And I think the role of a family physician is really part of that larger team. In some cases, running, in some places, being a part of it. But I'm struck by looking at the graduation rate of our residency, how huge percentage are going into rural and underserved areas from our specialty. And I'm worried that a lot of the subspecialization and hospital medicine, which is important, has drained away so much of what we need in access to primary care. We're having some help from PAs, nurse practitioners, but even then, too many are going into specialties in terms of the needs of our community. Well, at the front end of the question, when we arrived, family medicine was barely by its own dint recognized as a legitimate specialty. And through my training, it wasn't on the horizon. And then some people began to think that we could be doing a better job as physicians, taking a different approach. And it gradually came into being. And, you know, there were programs existing, Warren, when you came elsewhere, but it was still very, very new. And we had people come and visit and help us think it through. But it just simply, it wasn't there. And where I trained was in Boston. I can tell you it wasn't there at all. And the local general practitioner was, the academic health centers was held in a certain disregard at the time, which I'm not proud of at all. But what has changed? The answer is everything. Everything about it. And it's still evolved. So the biggest change as far as I'm concerned is that it is.
I have the next question also, sorry, you didn't have to get the mic. So this is for Dr. McGrew and Dr. Rakel. What role has family medicine played at UNM in your estimation? Who wants to go first?
Well, you know, when I was younger, I was doing a fellowship in San Francisco, and people there could not quit talking about UNM, problem-based learning, all that sort of thing. And so when I had the opportunity to come here, I was absolutely thrilled because it was known around the country as being the place to go if you wanted to do African and family medicine, problem-based learning, and that sort of thing. So I think the fact that we had a, much to the credit of Warren, or Bill, and others here, we had a program with the primary care curriculum that really did, even though not everybody went into primary care, it really gave them that primary care experience. And you know, you can be primary care no matter what you're in, if you attend to those things that are primary care. That's a really important part of it. And I used to think that we used to revel in being second-class citizens, right, in family medicine. We're kind of, you know, you would never know about the campus now, but we're kind of on the edge of campus up here, so we could get away with anything. We could go start this program, we could go do something in the community, and sort of apologize for doing it after we had already done it. But I think what's happened recently and what it's meant to this school is that we've been called to the table, and we have to answer that and go to the table right now. I mean, we are not on the edge anymore. We are not the fringe of medicine. We are the center of how we're going to improve the health of this country. And we have to get back to doing that here. We have to be able to do those things that improve the health of the country. When I look around this room and I say, what does it mean to it? I will tell you that at least 2 ACMOs in the hospital are now family physicians, Dr. Correjo and Dr. Alex Rankin. Dr. Phillips is the interim CMO in the health system. I mean, we are being called to the health system to do great things. And I think that that's what it means here. It means better health for our communities, not just health care, but better health for our communities. And that's what we need.
I can't follow that. Beautifully said from a leader who saw it through, as well as your colleagues here on stage. So, you know, when I came here, I met some cool people, and I saw why, you know, why are we here? And it was, and that mission of to serve people was so powerful. I wanted to be a part of that. It's still palpable. And the salaries aren't high enough, and that's a problem. But people do the good work anyways. And that is such a vow of respect for the people here in this community, realizing that the community is our why. And so just a big thank you for all of you for working that mission.
Thank you. If I may, I would like to comment a little bit on that question. And thinking about the role.
You're a chair now.
I am, except that I can let myself off the hook and was asking the questions instead of answering them tonight. But when I think about the role of family medicine at UNM, I've thought about the work of our students and our residents, especially in recent years, in really pushing discussions around justice and diversity. And so we play a central role in moving those discussions forward. And really, I think that the faculty do our best, but we're doing it on the wave of the momentum created by our learners. And that is a really exciting part of what family medicine, I think, contributes to UNM, with a core foundation of recognizing the critical importance of equity in our communities. Because if we're talking about that as a healthcare system, it's really coming from so much of the work that I think our learners are inspiring us to do to really take action to make a difference in those areas. No, thank you for that moment.
Well, can I recognize two of them at least that are here?
Please.
So Megan Twyford is in the back, and Liliana Garcia is here. And I just wanted to recognize them because they are fantastic learners. If there are other students, and I'm not seeing you because I can't see as well as some, will you guys stand up? I want them to. Claire, where's Claire? I can't see everybody. There's no Claire, how are you? Claire is a student. You know, you're the reason we're here, right? And that's why COVID has been so hard, because every day we don't get to see the students, and you're exactly why we're here. So thank you all.
All right, so for our next question, let's see This is for Dr. Hoffman, I'm getting the names mixed up. Dr. Kaufman and Dr. Heffron. Let's start with Dr. Heffron. What role has family medicine played in New Mexico?
I think similar to what it has played at UNM in many ways. But thinking about leadership throughout the state, our department and residency has produced many presidents of the New Mexico Academy of Family Physicians over the last 45 years. We provided leaderships on a statewide basis for family medicine to be fostered and grow and develop. We have also produced a dean and vice president. Paul Roth graduated from our residency program. He was one of our early people. He came in and provided leadership on a statewide basis, on a university-wide basis. Michael McGrew went on to become dean. Arthur is now looking at the statewide not comptroller, or whatever you are for the head of the state. And Arthur is doing those things. And plus, we have provided 500 physician graduates of our residency program. 70% of them are now practicing in the state of Mexico. So we have given a goalless, I think every county in the state, scattered around the state, leadership, people, and the practice of medicine. It's been dramatic.
I think the most important thing is we are really nice. We just are nice people. And that goes a long way. And the thing I'm most proud of, actually Warren started this, I just followed on, was the concept of decentralizing residency across the state. We started with 1, then we had 2, then we had 3, 4, now we're going 5 and 6 rural residencies. And the data shows that maybe 25% of the Albuquerque graduates go to rural New Mexico. It's 70% of all those rural sites. I do want to also say that I was proud how much it meant to us to take young people from rural areas of the state into the school, into the residency. And Sugar Singleton here from, and I don't know how she did it, from Farmington area. And well, I'm never going to find out how you travel back and forth through medical school and residency, but went back. And this is actually a whole group of our graduates who are now working in rural areas. It's not just people from outside, it's people from those communities who went back. And we encourage that, and they're leaders in their local communities, and they're some of our most powerful preceptors.
Thank you very much. With talking about our residency grads, I hope it's okay. I'd like everyone who graduated from our residency program to stand. I'm so happy all of you can be here. Thanks for joining us. So, in COVID times, it's really interesting to plan an event. And so know that you were very specially invited to be here tonight. We're so glad you made time to spend the evening with us. So thank you for that. Now I'm going to tell you this next question is the fan favorite. This is the question that the past chairs were most eager to share their answer to. What is one of your favorite family medicine memories? I can't do this one. We've got time. We can go in order here, that'd be fine.
One thing about it, when you get to be in your mid-80s, you can remember lots of things over many years, so I can regale you forever, but I won't. But thinking, some memories that got us here. 55 years ago, I was practicing in a little 40-bed hospital, had 4 doctors in a little jungle in the middle of Puerto Rico. It was a little mission hospital, and we did everything. We did lots of surgery. Surgery needed to be done, we had to do it. We had to do high-risk OB, we did tons of OB. We had outpatient, we had community clinics. And I was sitting there one night after being on call, on one of those days with raining babies. I delivered 5 babies that night. And I was sitting there and I said to myself, I had this little experience. I said, Here we are practicing this kind of medicine in the central mountains of Puerto Rico, and all the graduates of the University of Puerto Rico are going to the US and becoming specialists, and they won't come home. They can't come home. They say they're overtrained. We need to train a kind of doctor to do exactly what we're doing. I didn't know, never heard about family medicine. I didn't know what it was, but I had developed this germ of a concept. Fast forward to 4 or 5 years later, the then dean, Bob Stone, called me into his office one day, and he said, "There's this new specialty called family medicine." He said, "You and Bill Weiss, I'm calling you both in. I want to offer you a job to start a residency in family medicine. We're going to convert a department. Bill can be the department chair. You start the residency, and we will train the kind of doctors that the state of New Mexico needs." And I flashed back, oh my gosh, that's that dream I had 6 years ago in the jungle. So we started residency. We had a rotating zero internship at that time. They gave us six interns. So we converted them to first year family medicine. We helped them stay as interns or convert to a family medicine residency. 3 chose to become family medicine first year residents. 3 did 1 year and then left. So we started the residency, got it accredited. The next year, Bill Weiss and I and a guy named Steve Pearls from the Department of Psychiatry literally took 3 weeks off and wrote a grant to get a new building for a family practice center and a psychiatry center. And we got $1.9 million from the feds to build a building just across the raceway here. And so then we had a place to stay. Just out of 3 weeks work, $1.9 million, the state matched $600,000. And we got a family medicine center and a psychiatry center. We started our first clinic in the hospital. I was sitting down there one day writing with a patient, and I heard coming down the hall, calm. I looked down, standing in the doorway, I saw a pair of cowboy boots, a pair of jeans, and a black and red checkered sweater. The guy puts out his hand and says, "Hi, name's Dates. I'm looking for a job." So Ben Dates became our third faculty member. He's sitting back here. He's still working. And he became our third faculty member. And I was so quick to hire him, I even loaned him a car to drive to Santa Fe to get his license. I loaned him our old VW camper to get him licensed, and then he joined us as our third faculty member. Not long after that, Bert Unwin joined us from the Department of Pediatrics, our fourth faculty member, and the rest was history. So, some stories about how we got here.
Thank you. I had 2 memories. We were all kind of grew up in the 60s where nudity was not.
Go on.
We didn't have a lot of money as we were teaching these PCC students medical exams, so we served as models ourselves. So I'm in a room and PC students are examining my varicocele, and she's squirting them with breast milk because she had just delivered a baby. This is the kind of person we're honoring today. The second was I was driving a ditch road in Corrales, flipped the car, and I hurt my arm. I came back, staggered into my house, and I got a call that my patient was ready to deliver. I didn't know what to do with one arm. So I called Mario Pacheco, and he delivered with his left arm, my right arm, and that baby was delivered. And I take care of that patient now. Big hulking guy. The third I want to say just quickly was when I first came here, Bill and Warren were planning the medical school in Gallup. But they wanted to start with a family medicine residency in Chippewa. That would be the clinical site. And everything was excited. They got the dean, he was scheduled, Taylor McKenzie, and then the feds pulled out the money. It didn't work. So 50 years later, Dan Wallman gets a grant to set up with others a family medicine residency in Shiprock. So this is like salt and order conduction, like a lot of stuff, then nothing. And then here it is again. So that was exciting, Dan, thank you.
Remember one thing, remember we pulled up the Shiprock and we saw a sign, Shiprock International Airport. No terminal, no building, we got out a little plane and we were part of their waiting.
Well, I could talk about big events like they did, like we became in the top 10 for research in family medicine last year. We opened all these clinics, but it's sort of the individual memories with people that I remember the most. And I think a lot about labor and delivery. I think about my first time with Dr. Rohan Menher is there. She can tell that story later if she wants to. With John Bettler talking about, pregnant patients need to drink water, delivering some of your babies. I mean, just those connections have been just really incredible. But I think the other things I think about is the opportunities, particularly that these folks have given me. So, going to teach in Guatemala with Warren or in China or Cuba with Art. I mean, what we brought from New Mexico to all those other places was really remarkable. And I will tell you one funny story that happened, and Tim was on this trip too. We were in China and we were doing problem-based learning in China. And I don't know if any of you remember the old slides we did, but to define the problem, there was a picture of a banjo on somebody's knee. I don't know how many of you remember that. That was the problem, the banjo on the knee. And so these were standing in the back of the room, and I'm going through a problem like a banjo on the knee, and every person there's face is like blank because they don't know the banjo on their knee. And they're sitting in the back laughing at me, and I go, I come from Alabama, and every person in that room in China said, the banjo on my knee. It was one of my favorite memories ever, as well as Art taking me to a Jewish synagogue in the middle of Havana. Well, I had to sit on the other side of the room from him. I know, that's right.
I'm not gonna let that stop me. When things began, as I said earlier, this was just as family medicine was beginning to gel as a specialty in the country, and I put down this row of people, interns. Or internists. We're supposed to do all this stuff with people and all of their needs, and it required real shifting that those who had experience in the Indian Health Service or Puerto Rico, et cetera, in general practice. I never had that opportunity. I've worked in a lab for 2 years at NIH. So for me, family medicine attending was always not only a challenge, but usually filled with moments of terror, especially around OBGYN. So the memory I have is being on call, getting a call in the middle of the night, somebody on the other end of the phone giving me grab this, pair of that, age, stage, centimeters. And I said, whoa, just waking up. Let's go back to the beginning first. Is this a man or a woman? There was a pause at the end of the line, and it says, don't worry, Dr. Weiss, go back to sleep. We'll take care of it.
Did you really squirt breast milk on the students?
No.
I'm sure.
This is what I had.
Well, I think it goes back to the coolness of the people here. I was coming here for my interview, I remember, and Catherine Ribeiro, department administrator, there she is in the back row. I was coming down the escalator, and she was going up the escalator, and she recognized me. And she was in heels, and she turned around and started walking down the escalator to greet me. And so that was my first impression. I said, this is a place for me. If administrator will walk down the opposite path of this. I want to also just make a comment on how our intention for improving the health of New Mexico, this is a memory that will always stick with me. We wanted to develop a primary care spend reach because many of the states across the country were figuring out the more you invest in primary care for any state medical spend, the better value, the better quality, the triple aim. And so we wanted to do that here, right? Jen and Chuck and others, and were a big part of this. And so we said, okay, how can we figure out the primary care spend rate? And so we talked with the New Mexico Hospital Association and the specialty associations, and we realized that we were going to create some conflict if all we did was talk about payment for primary care. And we quickly realized that that was not going to work. So we all came together, the same people, and wrote a bill. What was it, 67 or?
40.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Now, we have a primary care council based on an interprofessional team, just like Art was talking, to support primary care in the state. And you know all the good stuff's going to come from that. And our intention was, how can we promote primary care? And the end result was much greater with better relationships. It was a beautiful, beautiful example.
Thanks for that, Dave. It's exciting. It's part of the future. And so that's back to my question for the next one. And you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but if you have an idea about what the future of family medicine in New Mexico is going to be about, we want to learn from you.
Anybody wants it?
I see family medicine as contributing to the future of medical practice here. We have an interest, we have a positive department full of energetic, enthusiastic people, staff people in the department who are committed to change, much as we were 50 years ago. We saw ourselves as rebels against the medical establishment. We were going to create something new, we were going to bring new life to it. And I see that continuing. I see that same spirit here in a different way among people today. So I see us interested in minorities, interested in getting up more and more into the Native American community. Actually, all of us have had some sort of contact. Some of us have worked for several years among Native Americans over the years. Underserved, the under cared for. I see family medicine, UNM, and this department as having a future and one that is viable and positive.
Two things. I think that with the data showing that adverse social determinants comprise about 60+% of what contributes to health and our health system, maybe about 10%. The fact that we understand it, embrace it, and are developing programs like community health workers. They're populating our clinics. Christina O'Connell is the driver of it's really a national model. And I think that will spread around the state. It's very interesting that our electronic health record company, Cerner, has decided they're going to do that. They're going to work, they're already spreading it around the country. I think the fact that family medicine plays a key role has incredible power, especially when you look at the future and see that the way the current fee-for-service incentive will slowly fade away. It's really damaging to our system now. But as you move into population health, family medicine will play an absolutely critical role there. And if we can play that leadership role, making all those bridges, it will have a profound effect.
I agree with all of that, but I also want to say that I think that in the early days of family medicine, particularly for people who were the generation ahead of me, we had to fight so hard to be who we were and to be accepted and honored as a specialty. But again, I'll say, I think we're there. And I think what we have to begin to do is, and this may be my perspective now as having been the dean, but we have to quit fighting so hard, and we have to learn to collaborate, be part of something, be part of the big picture, and bring other people along. We have skills in population health, in community health, in family health, in disparities, inequities, that we can bring to the table. And I think we can't hold ourselves separate and keep fighting for respect as a specialty, because like Dave said, we are there. We have respect, but we have to own it and we have to speak it. And I think that's what the future of family medicine has to be.
I'm very nervous about the future of medicine in general. I think we have a system of sorts of care that is untenably expensive, and it cannot survive in its present form. I think this is hopefully going to be embraced as an opportunity for family medicine, with its history of innovation, adaptation, and also collaboration and partnerships. All of those are going to have to be themes of the future. But the future ain't going to be what it is now. And that's going to change. And I think there's a real opportunity for leadership. And I think this is the place where that leadership can and should come from.
You're thinking the ability that we have, this $4 trillion healthcare system that doesn't produce health. There's a problem there. That I heard a quote. I thought I heard all Winston Churchill's quotes, but he has one I really liked. He said, "Success is going from failure to failure without the loss of enthusiasm." And I think we're pretty good at that in family medicine, don't we? But part of the original failure was that we wanted respect. And we sought respect by being more like our specialty colleagues, because they were getting all the respect. Now, I think we really just have to own our superpower. And our superpower is being a super generalist, working and defining an interprofessional team that serves the health of the communities. And then how do we step back? We're exploring some research on who should be in the primary care team. How big of a panel should they be to really result in the best outcomes? That's a new science that we need to really do primary care optimally and prevent burnout. Because if we have this bottleneck where it's all the physician's responsibility, we're going to burn out, we're going to prescribe more things, and order more tests. That always happens when we don't have enough time to deal with human complexity. So I'm excited about the future of family medicine because artificial intelligence is going to be so good, we're going to have to do human things for humans. And that's fun. And no computer will ever be able to do that as well as a kind heart.
Thank you all. I just want to also say, I think that the high touch and high tech is part of the future that we see coming with telemedicine and still, things you can't do over telemedicine, like catch babies and put in IUDs and all that. So thank you all so much for what you've done for New Mexico, for our institution and the legacy of family medicine. Thanks for participating in our panel and answering our questions and just being the wonderful human beings that you are. We love you so much. And I'm handing it back to a person I also love, Dr. Felicia.
I also want to thank you, and if we could have a round of applause for our panelists. The Office of Community Faculty has gifts for all of the panelists. And if the panelists would stay on stage, please, as we kind of continue to give Martha our love and support as we transition into the next part of our program. Yours is coming, Dr. Hepburn. There we go. Right, so at this time, we'd like to transition in our program to recognize the contributions and the dedication and work that Dr. Martha Colmagrew has given to this institution as she prepares to retire. And I tend to cry, so I'm just going to read my comments and not try to talk ad lib. Dr. McGrew came to UNM after completing her teaching fellowship in 1990 to join our department. She served in many roles as an educator, and she provided loving care to countless patients before serving as department chair. It wasn't supposed to happen this fast. When she stepped into the role as department chair, I warned you. I was just part of crying. I didn't warn you, Martha. She became the first woman chair of the department. Since then, she became the executive vice dean and the first woman to serve in the dean's role at the School of Medicine. But none of these roles captured her status as a hero, as the hero she is to me at that day on Mother Baby Unit, when I was a terrified intern, and I heard, "Prolapsed cord!" And I thought I was the only doctor on the floor. I don't know where she came from, but out of nowhere, Martha McGrew emerged. I don't actually know what happened next, but next I saw her on all fours, on the gurney, with her hand under that sheet, rushing to labor and delivery to save a baby's life. And that's Martha McGrew. There are several people here today who would like to recognize her, and so there are a few people who'd like to share some words. Please excuse my emotion. I love this woman. At first, if we could have Dr. Doug Ziodonis, please come on stage. Dr. Ziodonis is the Executive Vice President of UNM Health Science Center, and he has a few words of recognition.
Well, wow, what a great event. And I just wanted to first start off with congratulations to all of you in the Department of Family Medicine and Community. What a rich history. This all-star group up front here, listening to them all. And I have to share personal stories. So if you're as old as me, and you think back, how many medical school books do you have? Well, I got 3 of them from medical school. And one of them is The Principles of Family Medicine by Dr. Rakel, Dad Rakel. So when I was growing up, the family doc was my neighborhood doc. He did everything, didn't deliver me, but delivered my SIDS. Did the surgery, did everything. Above all, he was really inspirational, terrific. And when I went into medical school, I thought I'd be a family doc like him. Other events in life occurred, and I ended up going into psychiatry. But family medicine always wrestled with those behavioral health issues, and we count on everybody in family medicine. There aren't enough psychiatrists to manage all the behavioral health issues that are here. But I see you all having a really rich history. And as I listen to the comments by these sage leaders that I honor and respect and have had the privilege to meet most of them, you are here, you are there, you are so important to this health science center and the nation and the world. And so I do sit every day, I ask that question myself, how will we enhance the health of all the Mexicans here in Mexico? How will we address health inequities, including the rural areas? How will we address population health? And how will we collaborate so that our College of Nursing, College of Pharmacy, and College of Population health colleagues also feel part of this system, because they are where maybe family medicine was. But family medicine isn't there. We need you to help them. And they're not really a part of our health system yet, and I'm hoping that you'll figure out a way to do that. I know Dr. Kaufman and I talk about that a lot of times, including community health workers and peer specialists, because this is a big state and we're gonna meet a lot of people and all of the trusted partners in those communities. And it really is about interdisciplinary teams. You all talk about high-tech touch, of course, and telemedicine. All the aspects of virtual health are going to be critical. I love the innovation, adaptation, collaboration, and partnership. That should be a theme for all of us, so thank you for adding that. So anyway, I just want to really it's an honor to be here to just at least be part of that half of the event. So I guess I'm the bridger to the second half also. So Dr. McGrew, wow, it's been so wonderful to get to know you as a person first. How helpful you've been for my onboarding and getting connected here, whether it's knowing the right restaurant, whether it's knowing the right person, but your humanness, your caring and compassion for everyone is so visible and palpable to me. And I think everywhere I go, people speak so highly of you, and some cry. But everybody speaks with such great positivity. And that's probably the cornerstone of how people are going to remember that you care about the mission. And you care about all the hard work that everybody's doing here to make a difference for all the Mexicans here in New Mexico. You've had so many distinctions here. I have a really long list, but I'm not going to read them all. I think under your leadership, the department became #1 in the nation of medical students choosing family medicine. Your ability to inspire, lead teams, and have it ripple and cascade downward for others to see your leadership style makes a difference. In addition, the department entered the top 10 family medicine departments in NIH funding. Primarily health services and health disparities research, which is so important. Every group has different questions that are needed. And the kind of questions that you all are raising are the kind that family medicine and community medicine need to focus on. As Executive Vice Dean, and then we work closely with you in your Interim Dean of Medicine role, the school raised over $100 million in private gifts, in addition to all of the other ways that you've led and made a difference to make this a better place. And I know we know your cell phone number, so we're going to continue to bug you. And when we go visit Nashville, we're going to not only enjoy great music, but we'll be able to continue our connection and friendship here. So I can't wait to hear everybody else's comments about I know you really even better than me for many, many more years. But since December, my coming on board, you've been just a pleasure to work with, an honor, and such a great champion for everybody. So thank you.
Next, we'd like Dr. Bert Unlin to come on stage to say a few words.
Dr. Martha McGrew is a remarkable woman. I've had the delightful opportunity to be part of her years at UNM. When she arrived, she was pregnant with child #1, Hannah, and chose to have me help her deliver the baby. She had a really tough, long labor, but she did really well. The next day, she was up learning how to breastfeed. And then she became a lactation coach to many, many women at UNMH. The next day I was in her room holding Hannah, and Martha announced that I was going to bake Hannah's birthday cakes. So It's funny, except that I actually did bake the first 20. And then a year ago, a little more than a year ago, Hannah was here doing a rotation. Sad. She had a birthday. I said, what kind of a cake do you want? She said, carrot. So we baked the carrot cake for her. Then Hannah is now in the faculty at Vanderbilt, midwife. She caught from her mother interest in maternal child health. So she delivered her first baby at Vanderbilt, and I got a text. Do I have to bake all this baby's cakes? And I said, that's a negotiation between you and the mom. So I worked at family practice for 40 years total. And at 20 years, I decided to retire from full-time to quarter-time. And there was an event like this, and Martha did the honors. So this is Turnabout's Fair Play. She did my retirement event. We have remained very close over these 30 years. And it's very exciting for me to watch her move into this next role of grandmother. I think part of the reason for choosing to retire and move to Nashville is because Benjamin wants her. Love you, Martha.
Thank you so much, Dr. And then last but not least for comments, Dr. Arthur Kaufman.
Thank you. Oh. So Martha came from the Deep South, and I always felt that meant she was the only one in our department who had manners. And I'll tell you, we were all y'all, and we had to celebrate Mardi Gras. I got all kinds of things around my neck, and I had to show my breast. No, that's New Orleans. But she would bring pralines for us, and that was very exciting, because I thought they were pralines, but no, she said, no, they're pralines. So we all became a little bit of the South and got some manners. We live in the same block, so when I walk, she's got the dogs, and I'm walking to the park, I get the best gossip of anyone. It is, the thing I'm gonna miss is not her, it's the gossip, because she let me know about everything. And she always said, now you're not telling anyone this. So of course, I never did. She also is a terrific mother, these two great daughters, and now we know a redheaded grandson. I'd like to go visit him. And I think the thing that was so striking to me is she was not a great researcher, but she was a great leader. And she had the ability to connect with people on an emotional level, and everyone felt she really cared about them. And that is absolutely priceless. She, like the rest of us, always feels like we're imposters, you know. Someday they're going to find out that I really don't know much of it. But that's really not what the issue is. She is skillful at human interactions. That's what made her great in her various roles. She really moved up the ladder rather quickly, from junior faculty all the way to a deanship position. And that is remarkable. And she's really loved by everybody. And I have this picture on my wall, and it said this. It said, 100 years from now, it will not matter what my account was, the kind of house I lived in, or the sort of car I drove. But the world may be different because I was important to the life of a child. And I think Martha was important to all of our lives. I love you.
Thank you so much. And now we would like to present some gifts. And so could I have Dr. Silverblatt come up, and also Dr. Key and Dr. Bishop? Just get some over to this side. First, Dr. Phillips and Dr. Silverblatt, and then Dr. Key and Bishop.
So Martha, we have some gifts, and you're gonna have a lot of stuff to pack in your car and to take to Nashville. From the department, Martina had made a beautiful bracelet for you. You also have a black and white photograph of my dad. I hate surprises, so I'll just tell you, of Taos Church. From the backside, it's really beautiful, but we'll mail it to your house.
Martha, we go way back. But one thing I would like to say is that you have taught me and that you have taught everybody is the importance of stories. We've heard a lot of stories today. Some of those stories are just stories. I was being so discreet and southern. But some of those stories are what make people's lives. And it's what makes them ask themselves who they are. I am really grateful for your having created the Office for Community Faculty, because what you did was allow us to pay attention to the many stories of our community faculty, many of whom are here today, and I want to thank you. But I want to thank you for making us pay attention and to listen, and to remind us, and for always reminding us to listen to those stories, even when they're difficult. But we got to listen and pay attention and create a new world for that. And so I want you to know that we wanted to give you a storyteller so that you would remember, and you remember what you taught us, and so that this would remind you of us. Thank you so much, Martha. Thank you. I'm here to rescue this baby now.
Well, you know, we don't deliver babies, we just catch them, so they don't fall out. Right. Oh, and that's beautiful. Thank you.
And then Martha, if you'll stand in the center for the next presentation, please. And help.
So Martha, on behalf of the Center for Native American Health, we have a blanket for you. And this blanket was designed by Jared Yossi to pay homage to the designs woven by his grandmothers. And he said, while my grandmothers are no longer with us, these patterns and colors remain to tell us the story of where they came from. And so it felt like I was showing tribute to their designs through my new work, and it makes me feel as if I'm passing along their legacy. And so your legacy will continue here at UNM, and we appreciate all that you've done.
Oh. Oh. Around your shoulders. Oh. Thank you so much.
Dr. McGrew, Sina had also asked me to say a small prayer for you as you continue to travel without life. So if we can all just pray and find that space that we hold sacred. Innanzi kids in happening not see this and what you have to name the general of the Nile part of that, the Patel or that, the Patel of that, I don't need by me for me in heaven as archer, they have completed, they have caused a archer, they have dark cat, they have been that, they have the general of an as art or that, they don't need or that, look in it, and the general of an name or that, even needs of the heads, or that. Kerem Bujon told that he argued Bujon told that, and then Bujon told that, out of that his Arden Bujon told that, he was narrated Bujon and he came told that, those of the things that had been powerful, named the Shimon of Nande told that, Bojona Spring, Bojona Spring, Bojona Spring, Bojona Spring.
And with that, we'd like to hand over the mic if you'd like to say anything. So, when I look into this audience, I see three faces of somebody that has been incredible for me. And it is a friend of me to kind of go around and tell you right now every way that you've been incredible for me. But you have been my family. I came here and, you know, our family was in Louisiana and I came here pregnant. And it was amazing what happened immediately. I had been here 3 months. Bert only brought me the crib he built for his child. Melvina McKay gave me this beautiful blanket and really stepped into helping me know how to be a mother because I didn't have that here. And Melvina just gave that blanket to my grandson. So he has it now. So thank you for that. I want to talk about all of you so much. I want to, talk about Val and John, who are medical students, and now look at what they're doing. And John and I are co-vets for each other's animals. It's like we do these amazing things together. Craig Tim, you have been a colleague for so long. Saba, you've been a colleague for so long. The Family Practice Center on Tucker, we just can't say the Family Practice Center, but it is the Family Practice Center on Tucker. Arlinda, Christina, I met Christina when I first came. She was a nurse in labor and delivery. Oh my God. And now she's like free. And Val Parejo, I remember trying to recruit you in labor and delivery when it was on 3 Middle, where all the offices are now. And Paulina and I having kids at the same time. And Sugar, oh my God, I interviewed Sugar for medical school, which is really quite amazing. And I can't see everybody out there. Bill, who we traveled and raised money and all that. My Winston Churchill quote is, and this is why I can raise money. Winston Churchill said, the most beautiful sound in the world is that accent of an educated Southern woman. So but it allowed me to raise a lot of money here, so it's really good. But I want to say, I just want to make sure, there's so many people and I can't see everybody, and I just want to say thank you so much. But I really want to say it particularly for 3 people. So, Warren Heffron, in 1990, he said, "You want to have a job here?" And I said, "Yes." And then I had to call him back the next day and say, "And I'm coming pregnant." And he said, "Take off as much time as you need to. And we will love you. And we will let you work part-time. And we will support you. And 1990, and we will allow you to be a good mother. And we'll let you be a good doctor." And that has created so much loyalty for me in this world. So thank you, Warren. And he also promised me not to get in my hair when I was the chair of family medicine. Then let's go to Art. Once I became the chair of family medicine, every Sunday night he walked up to my house with a legal pad with to-dos for me for the next week. Art Kaufman is amazing. I don't know if I can say enough about him. I mean, we all talk about mentors, but he's been a sponsor. And sponsors give you things to do that move you to the next level. I mean, within days, moments of arrival, he has had me directing courses, writing Perseverance, taking me to China, taking me everywhere so that I could grow and become, everything. I can't even say. And every
hard day of my life. You know, I came down to yours and Ellen's house and we just walked and talked and just, I mean, what a treasure. He is a treasure to this institution, and I think you should know that. And then the last person I want to say thank you to is Bert Unwin, because when I came here, Bert Unwin delivered my baby 6 months later or something like that. And I didn't have that good a labor. I want to tell you, I offered to strangle the anesthesiologist. So it wasn't that easy, but Bert just stayed there. And finally, this baby with a head with a 99.9% cotton mouth. Oh my God. Oh, God. And she's still dead. But anyway, and she is amazing, and they're both amazing. But Bert has been with me the whole time. He is the best doctor I have ever known in my life. I had dinner with him last night, and he didn't tell me about this, but he can still talk about, I mean, every medical thing you can imagine. It's just, he is the best doctor, but he has also been the best friend. This whole time in COVID, I have had dinner with him every week because my family was gone. And we started out, I was at the other end of the table, and slowly we moved back to it. But Bert, every time I felt like the biggest imposter in the world, Bert, you have made me know that I am not that I am strong and powerful. One more person I want to say thank you to, and there's so many, well, I may say a few more. Okay, I'm just going to go with 5 minutes. Mike Richards, when you move up in leadership, it's lonesome. I mean, it's lonesome. And you often take arrows and you take them because you do, because it's what we do and we are responsible. But, you know, he has been my person, you know, those days. And so I just want to say thank you, Mike, for being that person when it gets lonely that we are there. And I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me over the last couple of years. And I want to thank Jen Phillips, I mentioned when she was 14 years old, and just had all of her career, and I'm so proud of her, and she's amazing. She's just going to do great things. And then I want to say thank you to Felicia for, you know, a real mentor relationship is when you learn as much from your mentee as you're able to give them. And particularly over the last few years, Felicia has opened her heart to me, to allow me to learn things without shame or guilt or a lot of stuff. She has this way of saying, let me ask you to think about this in a different way. But I'll tell you the thing about Felicia that you need to know is watch her eyebrows. And when one goes slightly up a little bit, she is wondering how to confront you about something you just said in a way that she can do it that's beautiful. So I do care about the mission here. Oh my God, this is what we're called to do. My mother said, well, she quoted somebody, I won't say who, but to whom much is given, much is expected. We are so lucky. We are so blessed and so lucky. No, we don't make enough money, but we make more money than most people in the world. We are so blessed and so lucky to work in a place where people really want to improve the health in New Mexico. Do we get it right? Do I get it right all the time? Absolutely not. But we have to keep going. We have to keep staying with that mission. We have to manage each other up and build each other up. We have to make each other better. That's what we're here to do. Then, if we're all together in that boat, we can make our communities better, and we can make our patients better, but only if we do it together, and only if we support each other and build each other up. So, I can't imagine having had a better career. I'm so grateful to each one of you. Every one of you in this room, I am grateful to. You've brought something to my life that is just extraordinary, and I hope that I can then take that and do something extraordinary for others in different ways. I'm excited about the front end now of life, you know, working with kids and in my neighborhood and doing those sorts of things at the front so that we can begin to take care of these issues we have. So I'm going to be busy. I'm going to be learning Spanish and traveling and maybe doing a little volunteer teaching and doing all that stuff. But mostly I'm going to have you in my heart. And thank you just for everything. I'm just so grateful to all of you. Thank you. I just want to also
to make the world better, you just look at children, right? You just look at those children and their children, and you say, we gotta do better. And my girls are doing great stuff, you know, Hannah's a midwife working in a Spanish, she's the only Spanish speaker in her federally qualified health center as a midwife. Sarah's beat as a TV reporter in Milwaukee at Social Justice, and I just wanna honor them because they honestly have made me the person that I am. So thank you. I promise I won't leave you.
All right, everybody, and with that, now it's time to party. There's one more gift in the lobby for you, Martha, that's from Jen, Belle, and John, Art, and myself. So there's another gift out there. And so if you'll lead us out, if everyone will let Dr. McGrew lead us out, and then we'll go on to the reception. Thank you all. Jen doesn't like surprises. Thank you all so much for being here. Please enjoy the reception and visit with Dr. McGrew. Thank you all so much.